The first time two SEC teams face off in the Final Four. Bruce Pearl, Todd Golden know each other well. Golden, an assistant for Pearl from 2014 to 2016, now clashing for a spot in the national championship. National Player of the Year candidate Johni Broome said he's feeling 100%, injured his right elbow in the Elite Eight. Just under 4 minutes into the game, Ruben Chinyelu backing down Broome in the post, spins and lays it in, and he makes contact with Broome's elbow, and he's in pain. Medical staff having to adjust his elbow brace. Mid-first half, Elijah Martin drive blocked by Broome. Tigers in transition. Miles Kelly up and in. Auburn up by 3. Just under 3 minutes left in the half. Broome in the post. Ball fake. Working. Up and in. He scored 12 points in the first half. Auburn up by 8 at the break. 25-0 this season when leading by 5 points at halftime. Florida trailing at the break for the first time in over a month. Already erased 2 second-half deficits in this tournament thanks to this young man, Walter Clayton Jr. for 3. Buries it. Gators within 3. Clayton up to 17. Minute later, Clayton to Martin. Another 3. Game tied at 49. All part of an 11-0 run to give the Gators the lead. Under 10 minutes left. Now tied at 57. Broome can't handle the pass. Martin with the steal. Let me get that steal. Let me get that dunk. Gators up by 2. He's the first player to start a Final Four game for multiple teams. Was at FAU in 2023. Just over 5 minutes left. Florida up 1. Auburn turnover. Martin in transition. Martin rising and rocking. Oh, baby, what a dunk. Put him on a poster at the Alamo Dome. Minute later, Clayton. Pull up 3. How clutch is he? Got it. Up 4, up to 27 points, matching the school Final Four record. Broome trying to get his team back in it at the line for 2 with 2 minutes left. Down 3, first attempt. Not even close. Make your free throws, kids. Next attempt. Make your free throws, kids. And a turnover. A second half to forget for Broome. Held to 3 points in the second half. 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 5 from the line. Auburn, 12 second half turnovers. Ensuing Florida possession. Clayton. Oh, it's good. And 1. Up 6 after made free throw. A career-high 34 points on 11 of 18. First 30-point game in a national semifinal since Carmelo in 2003. 40 seconds left. Clayton to Thomas Houck. My name is Thomas Houck, and I get big boy buckets. Up 8. Oh, the emotions in San Antonio. Final seconds. Clayton. Let him have the basketball. Florida runs the clock out. Walter Clayton Jr. by himself outscored Auburn 10-8 over the final 4.5 minutes of this game. Oh, snap. The Gators come back. Bang. Florida wins it 79-73, outscoring Auburn 41-27 in the second half. Their third win when trailing in the second half this tournament, advancing to the national championship for the first time since 2007, the second of back-to-back titles for the Gators, now 1 win away from their third natty. Walter Clayton Jr. Have a tournament, kid, post-game with our Tracy Wolfson.
Let me start with the star, Walton Clayton Jr. I mean, 34 points. How do you do it?
Man, I just got a bunch of guys around me that trust me, and I say it all the time, man. Them guys trust me to take those shots. You know, some nights they fall, and tonight was one of those nights.
Your coach didn't even know you had 34 points.
I'm just used to seeing him put the ball in the basket, I guess. But he's done what he's done all year for us. In big moments, stepped up, hit huge shots, settled our team down, and made winning plays when we needed him the most.
What is it about this team? Last year you lost in the first round. Now you're playing for a national championship on Monday night.
Man, we just so together. You know, on the court, off the court, we spend so much time together, and we just love each other. I keep on saying that, too. We just love each other, and that's how we're able to battle through adversity.
Coach, speaking of adversity, the resiliency of this team, you've fought throughout this game. You've done it all tournament long. What is it about your squad that continues to win?
It starts with Walter, Will, and Elijah, and the leadership, toughness, mentality, urgency that they bring every day. It just breathes confidence into the other guys on the team. And no matter what the score is, we always feel like we got a chance to win. Obviously, I thought Auburn played great, especially in the first half. Had us on our heels, but we came out in the second half, got off to a great start, and we didn't look back. Our guys were really, really tough tonight.
On to Monday night. Good luck.
We got a chance. Let's go, Gators. Go, Gators.
Walter Clayton Jr., the definition of clutch in this tournament. I mentioned it once, but worth mentioning again. By himself, he outscored Auburn 10-8 over the final 4.5. And he is the first player with back-to-back 30-point games in the Elite Eight or later since Larry Bird in 1979. Larry Bird, however, did not win the Natty that year. He lost to Magic Johnson in the national championship. Could that be the end result for Walter Clayton Jr., or does he change the narrative and help Florida win their third national championship in school history? We wait to find out Monday night back in San Antonio. Welcome in a cavalcade of stars from left to right. Avery Johnson, Hunter Dickinson, Tim Doyle. Hunter, this was an incredible game, and we have seen Florida come back from deficits all throughout this tournament. Down against UConn, they come back. Down against Texas Tech, down by 10 and they come back. Down by 9 against Auburn and they come back. What have you seen out of this Florida team where they just never say die?
Yeah, Hakeem, it's almost like they're better when they're down, and they use that as momentum to fuel them to make a late comeback. I mean, it helps when you have the best player in college basketball right now. I know Cooper Flagg won Player of the Year, but Walter Clayton Jr. is playing the best basketball out of anybody in this building right now, and he willed his team to victory. I mean, 34 points. He was the best player on the floor, best player. I mean, I think he deserved to be a first-round pick after that performance tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hunter. When I look at this Florida team, first of all, congratulations to the Gators, but somebody at a private gym tomorrow, they need to go work on their press offense, because this is the same press offense I've been seeing malfunctioning. This game, independent of the score, Florida, if it was a 7-game series, they would beat Auburn 4-1. They're just so much better, especially Janai Broome didn't score in the last 15 minutes of the game. Walter Clayton Jr., obviously the best player on the floor, but Elijah Martin, the guy I've been talking about, he was outstanding with 17 points. But at the end of the day, Florida had Walter Clayton Jr. and Auburn didn't. And Auburn had a little bit of a drought there to start the second half where Bruce Pearl probably should have called a timeout. But Tim, I'm really rolling with this Florida team. Very impressive performance, especially in the second half.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, this was seriously a game of two halves. A domination by Auburn in the first half, and then a Walter Clayton performance for the ages here, where I wasn't sure he could play better than what he did against Texas Tech. And guys, he did. But if you're Bruce Pearl right now, you're in the locker room, your team didn't deserve to win this game. Shot 33% in the second half. You missed 7 free throws. You shot 20-something% from three-point range. So numbers don't lie. Clayton was sensational. Broome was good in the first half, but just not that special in the second half.
Yeah, the numbers do not lie, Hunter. And Janai Broome said he was 100% coming into this game. Clearly he wasn't. We didn't believe that. Shoulder injury in December, ankle injury in January, the hyperextended elbow in the last game against Michigan State, and here he's banged up a bit. He only had 3 points in the second half, 1 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 5 from the free throw line. Clearly, he was jeopardized in that second half.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell it was early in the first half. One of the Florida players was able to do a drop step on him and hit him in the elbow, and you could tell he grimaced a little bit. I mean, me and Avery talked about it before the game. There's no way he was 100%, but he went out there and battled like a true champion. Like Avery said, he didn't score in the last 15 minutes of the game. He was dominant in the first half. He was scoring in all different ways. We thought the Florida bigs had to double because none of them could guard him, but I think they really found their groove defensively and guarding him. I think Bruce Pearl probably should have went to him a little bit more. I think they kind of strayed away from him too much, but I think you got to credit Florida's defense for really stepping up in the second half.
And also with Broome, if you notice, there were times when Walter Clayton Jr. was seeking him out on the defensive end, trying to force him to either switch, trying to force him to either halfway trap, and every time he switched, Walter Clayton Jr. just blew by him and scored. Or when they got 2 on the ball, Clayton Jr. made the right play by passing it. And then Condon only had 1 point, guys. Just 1 point. So they survived with him scoring 1 point. But Broome, they did not allow him to rest on defense.
Yeah, I mean, Condon wasn't great. Thomas Hulk, how good has he been? We talk about Walter Clayton Jr. and his draft stock, Hakeem, going through the roof. Thomas Hulk, get that bag, young fella, because you're going to get paid. Pick and pop, you 3-point play. He was fantastic in this game. Clayton got help. Elijah Martin didn't play in the first matchup. He had a monster dunk. He was physical in this game. You feel for Janai Broome because he battled all season. It's an Auburn team that came into the Final Four. They lost 3 or 4. They limped in. They were the best team in this game in the first half. One big problem, Hakeem, they played 2 halves in college basketball, and Florida was the much better team in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been the story so far for this Florida team in this NCAA tournament. And also for Florida, they're 32-1 now and allowing 82 points or less this season. So, look, they can get up on you just as well as Duke, just as well as Houston can. When you look at the matchup now, Hunter, what they're facing, the winner of Duke and Houston in our second national semifinal, is there an opponent? If you're Florida, of course you're going to say bring it on. Doesn't matter who they're going to get. But is there an opponent that they can exploit?
Well, if the reffing is anything like it was this game, they definitely do not want to play Houston. I was saying if the reffing was anything like this next game, Duke's going to be in trouble because there was a lot of grabbing, a lot of holding that was not called. The refs let them play. It was a very physical game. There were some maybe missed calls that should have been called, but it was a very physical game, and if it's anything like that, you do not want to play Houston because that's where they thrive.
When Florida plays their A game, I don't believe neither Duke nor Houston, independent of how they call the game tight or loose, I think Florida's the best team. They have the best 8-man rotation. They missed 9 free throws tonight. Fortunately, they scored off of Auburn's turnovers, 16 points off of Auburn's 14 turnovers. But again, when you have Walter Clayton Jr., Houston, terrific team. We obviously know how tough Cooper Flagg is, but this Florida team, they're just too good. This is a mini NBA team that we're watching. So I don't think they worry necessarily or try to favor playing either Duke or Houston. They're probably just saying bring it on.
Yeah, it's crazy to say it. I think they would rather play Duke. I think that they're so skilled. Coach mentioned it. 8 different guys that play quality minutes. They can stretch the floor. If the game gets physical, Houston's really physical, and they can present a problem for Florida. I can't believe how well Walter Clayton Jr. is playing. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it because he was so good against Texas Tech, and he made so many hard shots, backing up threes, down 9 with 3 minutes left. I just said to myself, and I picked Florida, Keem, pre-tournament, I just went, this guy can't keep playing like this. I was right. He played better today, which was crazy to see. So if he keeps playing at this level, which is a crazy high level, then Florida is going to win the national championship. I just wonder, will Walter Clayton Jr. ever come back to earth?
Avery, did I hear that right? You're saying it doesn't matter who they play on Monday night. They're winning that national championship. They're cutting down nets. It doesn't matter who they play. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what you're hearing. 2 different teams in terms of style of play with Duke and Houston. But the one thing I love about Florida, they can win ugly, they can win pretty, they just win. And when you have, I believe, the best player left in the Final Four, and he has the ball in his hands all the time, supporting cast, the size, the versatility, and they have that Army Swiss knife, Elijah Martin. He's a winner.
Okay. All right, Walter Clayton Jr. going to put the ball in his hands over Cooper Flagg to win the game. If it comes down to Duke, you're going to put the ball in his hands over Juwan Roberts. Avery?
I'm putting the ball in Walter Clayton Jr.'s hands, especially if the game is close. I think we call him a closer. He would be Mariano Rivera if we were playing baseball.
Okay. All right. We'll see who ends up closing it out in our second national semifinal as Florida awaits the winner of Duke and Houston. Our crew, a cavalcade of stars there at the Alamo Dome. Avery Johnson, Hunter Dickinson, and Tim Doyle. Men, thank you. We will see you post-game of our second game coming up later tonight here on CBS Sports HQ. It's oh snap, the Gators come back, right? This is incredible what they have done in this run to the national championship. They were down by 6 to UConn with under 9 minutes left in the second half. Won the game. What did they do in the Elite Eight game, Hakeem? Glad you asked. They were down 10 against Texas Tech with under 5:30 to play, and they came back thanks in part to Walter Clayton Jr. and Thomas Houck. And then here in the Final Four, early second half, down by 9, they rally back. The only team in the last 10 years with 2 9-point comeback wins in the Elite Eight or later. The big question is, can they win the big one on Monday night? In studio with CBS Sports college basketball writer Chip Patterson. Chip, initial thoughts to how that game ended, Florida onto the Natty.
I mean, this was absolute heavyweights, just throwing blows at each other.
Literally.
Literally, just a physical game, bodies hitting the floor all over the place. But to me, there are so many levels to this, as you would expect from what was an instant classic of a national semifinal. There is, number one, the individual excellence of Walter Clayton Jr. And you mentioned 30 points in back-to-back NCAA tournament games, the number of big shots that he's hit, the comeback against UConn, the comeback against Texas Tech, and now the cherry on top, the comeback against the #1 overall seed Auburn Tigers. He has taken the responsibility when he's needed it. Number two, there is Florida as a team locking down this Auburn offense, because the interior of Florida's defense, Swiss cheese in that first half. They were allowing Auburn to get whatever they wanted. They made those kinds of adjustments to be able to bring more bodies, to make life difficult on Janai Broome while not giving up too much on the perimeter as well. A huge credit to Florida for being able to find stops and force turnovers, then turn those turnovers into easy buckets the other way. 16 points off turnovers for Florida, not as many there for Auburn. And then finally, now it is Janai Broome, just in the second half of this game, unable to be as dominant as he was in the first. 15 points overall, 12 of them before halftime, just 3 afterwards. 1 for 4 from the field, 1 for 5 from free throw. The stars needed to be stars. Your best players have to be your best players. Walter Clayton answered the call. Janai Broome was unable to match the Florida Gators superstar, and so it is the individual excellence of Walter Clayton. It is the team of Florida for being able to lock down Auburn in the second half, but it is also the failures of Janai Broome and the Auburn Tigers to be able to close this thing out. Multiple chances to be able to climb back into it once Florida started getting off to those runs in the second half.
I love that note there. First player with 30 points in the national semis since Carmelo Anthony in 2003. What did Carmelo do in 2003, Chip?
He won the national championship.
He did.
Yeah, that's,
he did.
Yeah, and we talk about Cooper Flagg on a Carmelo-like run. If we want to talk about the stats and the facts, Walter Clayton may not be a true freshman like Cooper Flagg, but he is putting together one of those individual NCAA tournament runs that already, no matter what happens on Monday night, is going to go down as an all-timer.
Carmelo, the Hall of Famer. Walter Clayton Jr., long way to go to becoming a Hall of Famer, but already in the record books at the University of Florida with these back-to-back 30-point games. Janai Broome, the other National Player of the Year candidate in this game, along with Walter Clayton Jr. What was different in the second half? Was it the injuries that became too much of a factor for him? Because he was 1 of 5 from the free throw line. Those are the buckets you got to get. Those are the points you need to have to get your team back into this game when you're down.
You know, I think that a lot of it had to do with the physicality that Florida was bringing, and whether that made the injuries worse or whether that just made him uncomfortable in general. You know, sometimes that ends up playing out when you look at the fact that Chinyelu ends up with a trio of fouls. Condon ends up with 5 fouls. You know, they were really bringing a lot of physicality to him on the post, trying to make life very difficult all throughout that second half. Did the elbow end up impacting the shot? Hard to say. We'll have to hear from Janai Broome himself on that one. But the missed free throws and the missed field goals when everything seemed to be going his way. Turnovers, as you see right here. Just how about this? Not only a non-factor, a liability. And that's not what you can have from your very best player, from your National Player of the Year candidate. The idea that he was not only unable to help his team win, he was almost at times with his turnovers and his inability to get those close-range shots, at times hurting Auburn's offense as well.
I mentioned at halftime that they were 25-0. Auburn was, with a lead of 5+ points. They're now 25-1 for the #1 overall seed. They are out. They're headed home after coming up short in the Final Four. So the Florida Gators chomp into the national title game. And of course, they won back-to-back in 06-07. Now they await the winner of Houston and Duke. Who will they match up with on Monday night? Todd Golden, in his 3rd season at Florida, leading the Gators to the national championship as he beats his mentor in Bruce Pearl. He was an assistant under Pearl from 2014 to 2016, and he bests him in the Final Four in San Antonio.